They asked me to give a talk. Now, tonight's the night. Inshallah. You've been very patient. I want to tell you a story. The story of how priests and preachers enter Islam. It happened something like this. My father and I had a business in a mall some years ago. One day Dad came to the house. He had a big house in the country, and he said, "You know, son, something amazing. We're going to be doing with a business with a man from Egypt." I said, "Well, that's great. Egypt, that's the land of the pyramids, the Nile River, Cleopatra, all that good stuff. This is exciting." Yep. So I said, "Well, when are we going to meet this guy?" He said, "Yeah, we're going to set it up, and we're going to have a chance to get with him coming up. And he's a Muslim." I said, "A what? A Muslim? No, Dad, those guys, we don't do business with these people. No way. They're terrorists, hijackers, kidnappers, murderers. They don't believe in God. They worship a black box in the desert, and they kiss the ground 5 times a day. We don't need anything to do with no Muslims." My dad said, "I want you to meet him." I said, "No." He said, "Yes." I said, "I don't want to meet him." He said, "You will meet this man." So, well, I can't argue with that. So, all right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I do it on my terms. Here's what I want to do. I want to come to him on Sunday after church with my Bible and my born-again wife, who will be all prayed up. I'll have on my cross and my cap that says, "Jesus is Lord." And that's what we did. We went to church, heard a big sermon, heard somebody get the Holy Ghost, and somebody else translated what they were saying. I don't know if you know what that means. That means somebody is speaking in tongues. They don't know what they're saying, blah, 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 and then somebody else translates it for them. And that really happened just like that. And then after that, we said, "Boy, we're charged up. Let's go get this Muslim." We went into the store where my father's place was, and I was ready for this guy, and I expected to see, one of those guys with a big, coat on to the floor, and a big, turban on, and a long beard, and a... Oh, never mind. Anyway, and a sword. I was expecting like Ayatollah Khomeini or something, Eyebrows that start here and go all the way across, really. Then my dad said, "Here he is." I said, "Where?" He said, "Here." I said, "This guy? This guy's wearing normal clothes, And he doesn't have a beard. He didn't have any hair at all. He was bald-headed." So, "This is what a Muslim looks like?" He said, "Yeah." Okay. Shook hands with him. I was surprised. It was warm. He was human, I could feel warmth in that. Okay. So I'll be nice. "Hello, how are you? My name is Gev. What's your name?" "My name is Muhammad." "Okay, Muhammad, very nice to meet you. By the way, you believe in God?" He said, "Yes." "Yeah, but do you believe in the God of Abraham?" He said, "Yeah." Because see, I had been studying up. I know something about these Muslims. "What about Moses? Do you believe in Moses?" He said, "Yeah." "How about David and Solomon?" He said, "Yeah." "But do you believe in the Bible? Do you believe in the Old Testament?" He said, "Yeah." "How about the New Testament?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Wait a minute. Do you believe in Jesus?" He said, "Yeah." "No, I'm talking about, do you believe Jesus is a miracle birth?" "Yeah." "But you don't believe him as the risen Jesus?" He said, "Yeah, he's with God." I said, "Yeah." Wait a minute. This is going to be easy. This is going to be so easy, yes. So I told my dad, "Let's do business with this guy. We can convert him, no problem." My dad said, "Leave him alone." I said, "No, We started doing business. We started traveling together, he and I. I began to observe his ways. I began to realize that he was a real decent person, a nice person, a fair person. In fact, we would have discussions, and I would purposely try to sneak things around in the talk. But he would just be straight and say, okay, whatever, and let it go. Say, this is going to be easy. At one point, a friend of mine that has a big cross, he has a huge wooden cross, and he carries it down the street from time to time. He'll go down the freeway, he'll go across the country just so people see him walking along with this big, huge cross. They'll stop and say, what is this? And then he'll start to preach to them, because he's a preacher too, you know. He'd give them these little miniature Bibles with just a few verses in it. Especially has the verse John 3:16, for God so loved the world, etc., etc. And this man with the cross, I told him, you know, I've found a Muslim. He said, stop right there. Stay away from those guys. It's very dangerous. I said, yeah, but I think we can get him, you know. I have some ideas about this. He said, well, just take it easy. He said, you know, they don't really believe in anything. They're infidels. Okay. Then he had a heart attack and went to the hospital. When I went to visit him in the hospital, I met another man there. This man was a priest, a Catholic priest. And we became friends. When the Catholic priest was released from the hospital, we asked him to come and stay with us. And on the drive out to the country to my dad's house, the priest told me that he knew about Islam quite a bit, because he told me Catholic priests have to study all religions, especially they have to study Islam. I said, I didn't know that. He said, yes, we have to know about Islam. He said, these guys, they know about the Bible, they know about the New Testament, they know about the Psalms, and they know about Jesus, and they know a lot about our religion and their Quran. I said, really? He said, yeah, take it easy. I said, okay. I said, well, they don't really believe, right, do they? He said, you'd be surprised. He said, they really do have a lot going for them. I said, oh, okay. Now I've been warned about these guys. So I started again, trying to give the invitation to this gentleman to jump into our religion. Guess what he said? He said, well, I'll go to your religion if your religion is better than my religion. I said, this is great. Fill up the bathtub, we'll dunk him tonight, make him a Baptist. Good to go. But then he threw something at me I wasn't ready for. He said, but you're going to need proof. I said, proof? Religion's not about proof. Religion is about faith. He said, in Islam, we have both. We have proof and we have faith. Both. I said, okay. Are you trying to tell me you can prove there's a God? He said, yes. I said, no, I don't think so. Now look at this. A preacher arguing with somebody who wants to prove there's a God, saying, no, there isn't. Isn't proof, that is. And he's saying, yes, there is. Now I decided what we need to do is to gang up on him, because I wasn't a match for this guy. You know, just one-on-one. I need help. My dad's an ordained minister. He read the whole Bible by the time he was 10 years old. He had a certificate for that. My wife was very conversant in the Bible. She had her own Bible. And I felt like the best thing to do, gang up on him. So after the meal at night, clear off the table, and I'm going to bring my Bible. Dad brought his Bible. My wife has her Bible. Catholic priest, he's ready to go with his. And we're really going to give it to this man. But it didn't work like that, because my dad has the Masonic Bible, which is King James Version. But I had the Revised Standard Version, which is different, doesn't have all the verses that he has. My wife has Jimmy Swaggart's Bible, the Good News for Modern Man, and That's another version with weird stuff in it. The Catholic priest has the Bible with 73 books, and our books only have 66 books, and we're arguing with each other. Yes, no, not that, this, that, the other, and all the rest of it. We had a problem. How are we going to justify what verses we're talking about when we can't even agree with ourselves? How are we going to convince this man about the Bible? How? Finally, it became obvious we weren't going to ever agree on anything. So I turned to the Muslim and I said, by the way, how many versions of that book of your Quran do you have? Oh, there must be a lot of those too, right? He said, there's only one. One. And it's in Arabic. And if it's not in Arabic, then it's not the Quran, because Quran is recitation. Recitation. It's what you recite. And he recited some things for us, and I was amazed. He knew it in the original language. I had not seen anything like this before. A lot of people who look at Islam realize how powerful it is to have the original in Arabic language. They don't realize that. Because when you compare to other religions, they don't have their original books anymore. They have copies, translations, pieces of this and that, people's opinions, books written about it. For instance, if a person wrote a book today about the Quran, and 2,000 years from now somebody said, well, that is the Quran, that'd be a joke, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be a joke? Well, that's pretty much what they got. Somebody writing about it. But it's not the speech of Allah. Next, we got off the subject because I see I'm not going anywhere with that. Next, another night, we're going to talk about what we believe. Because, after all, Christianity is the easiest religion in the world. There isn't anything easier than Christianity. You just say the magic words. You don't have to pray. You don't have to fast. You don't have to make Hajj. You don't have to pay zakah. You don't have to grow a beard. You don't have to wear a hijab. You don't have to do anything except hope that it's going to work. You got to hope that God is really going to punish somebody else for your sins so you don't get punished. Not too likely, is it? So, I decided to talk about this. In explaining him about salvation, we came to a new subject. He said, how do you get saved? What will save you from going to hell? I said, well, that's what Christianity is best at. We have the perfect salvation. We have the grace. He said, how does it work? I said, well, the grace works like this. God can't forgive sins, so he sends his son to die for everybody's sin. He said, why can't God forgive sin? Well, I don't know how that works. Said, if he can't forgive sin, then how come after he kills his son he can forgive sins? I don't know how that works either. He said, and you're guilty, but his son is innocent. So where in history do we find it that it's good that innocent people have to be killed for the sake of the guilty ones? Well, I don't know how that works either. So we had a problem with that one. Especially when you consider if your child is bad, really bad, maybe he did something to the cat, maybe he threw stuff out of the refrigerator, ran around the house on a skateboard, broke the television set, broke some windows, maybe let the car roll out into the street and get hit by the trash truck. So you come home and you said, look what he did. But I can't forgive him. So I've got my other child over here that didn't do anything at all. So I'll beat him up. No, I'll kill him. The innocent one. People would put that man in the insane asylum, wouldn't they? They'll lock that man up for that, right? Society won't accept that, so why does religion accept it? And if you accept that, then it should be okay for people to kill their innocent children. But Islam forbid the killing of innocent children. They forbid it because some of the ignorant Arabs used to do that. Kill their innocent children, especially their daughters. Islam forbids killing of the innocent. Whoops. Well, I had to stop on that one. Let's back off of that. Well, forget about the Bible. Forget about the salvation. That doesn't work. He said, especially when you talk about salvation in Islam, we also say what you say. You say, nobody is saved except by grace. That was everything we knew in Texas. I heard that so many preachers said, nobody is saved except by grace. He said the word for grace in Arabic is rahmah. And the Quran begins with rahmah. Bismillahir Rahman Rahim. Yes? How many times Allah says Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim throughout the Quran? Too many times. So many times Allah talks about rahmah. And Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, talked about Allah's rahmah. So much rahmah. One of the hadiths he talks about that Allah has 100 parts of rahmah, and one part of the 100 was used for all of mankind and all of his dunya. One part. All the mercy you ever saw or ever imagined since the beginning to the end is one part of Allah's rahmah. The other 99 parts is waiting for the believers on the day of judgment. And the Prophet said, peace be upon him, nobody is saved except by this rahmah. They said, even you, Rasulullah? He said, even me. So who has the grace? Okay, let's get off of that subject. I'm thinking we'll move to something else. He says, can you talk to me about your belief in God? What do you believe about God? Which God is one. He said, do you have Trinity? Yes, God is three. He said, I thought you said he's one. He is one and three. He said, how does that work? Because God can do anything? Okay, let me get back to you. So I go to my friend with the cross. Remember him? He's out of the hospital. I go to him. I start to tell him the problem I'm having with the Muslims. He said, stay away from them. I told you. I said, yeah, but they believe in Jesus was a miracle birth, and Jesus was, doing miracles, and Jesus is with God. He's coming back. He said, but they don't believe in the cross. They don't believe in the salvation. I said, well, yeah, but he said, stop, stay away from them. I said, all I have to do is explain the Trinity. And I'm sure I'll get him then. But how can I explain that 1 equals 3? He said, no. Look, it's like an apple. The apple has a skin. Inside of the skin is the meat, and inside of that is the seeds. 3 things, 1 apple, same way, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, one God. Father, Son, Holy Ghost, one God. Got it. Okay, got it. So I go back, and I'm ready. Clear off all the dishes after supper. Sit down, my father, myself, my wife, the priest, and the Muslim. Pull out the apple. You see this apple? Has a skin. Inside is the meat, and inside of that is the seeds. He said, yeah, there's about 6 or 8 seeds in there. What does that equal? Yeah. Okay. He said, and looks like a worm crawling through it too. That could be 4 or 5 gods here. So let me get back to you. I go back to the guy with the cross the next day. I said, okay. The apple didn't work. He said, stay away from this guy. I said, the apple didn't work. I told him what happened. He said, it's not, forget about the apple. I said, okay, I forgot about it. It's like an egg. God is like an egg? He said, the egg is a shell. Inside of the shell is the white. Inside of the white is the yellow. 3 things, 1 egg. Said, yes. Now I'm ready. Go back. Clear the table. Sit down. Here we go. See this egg? Yeah, it's a pretty big egg. What if it's a double yolk? God just becomes 4. And what if it's rotten? Ooh, yeah, okay, forget about that. A few days later, I was in a parking lot. Some people talking to me. I was preaching as usual, and a fella said to me, what's the problem? I was telling him some difficulties with these Muslims. I said, I'm trying to explain the Trinity to this guy, and I just can't seem to catch it. He said, don't you know how to do it? You're a preacher. You ought to know that. I said, yeah, I ought to, but I don't have it. He said, look, see me? I'm one person. I said, yes, you are. You see my wife right there? I said, yeah, she's one person. Yes, she is. You see my son right there? Yes, he's one person. They're one. But all together, we're a family of 3. One family. It's the family of God. I said, that's it. Here we go. But on the way back, I got to thinking about it. I said, let me try to process this before I get there and wind up with apple or egg on my face. I said, okay. The father, the mother, the son. What if they have another kid? What if they have twins? What if they get divorced? Talaq. Because in Texas, when you get divorced, the woman, she gets the house, the car, the savings, the bank account, the retirement, the IRS, everything. And your computer and all your email. I don't want a God that could lose his email. I'm trying to think how I'm going to explain this. So I sat down at the table that night, and I didn't have a clue, but we're going to try something. I'm trying to explain. The Bible said, actually the Bible said God is one. Everywhere I look in the Bible, it says God is one. There's nothing except ones throughout the whole Bible. There's no Trinity, there's no 2, there's no 3. There's just one God. Say, O Israel, the Lord your God is one Lord. That's in the book of Deuteronomy, and it's in the book of Mark. That means the Old Testament and the New Testament both. The Jews and the Christians are ordered to believe that God is one. Like this. Besides, who wants a God with a worm in it? Or a God that can be rotten? Or a God that gets a divorce? So we asked the Muslim, what do you guys say about God? Look what he said. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Say, He is Allah, the uniquely one, the eternal. He is not the father of anything. He's not the son of anything. He doesn't compare to anything. And he's unique. One. Ahad. Said, wow. That sounds like what I believe anyway. Okay, we can go with that. Now, along the way through all of this, all of us are having our own questions and our own discussions individually with this man from Egypt, the Catholic priest. asked him one day, can I go to your church with you? His temple, his mosque. He said, sure, come on. They were gone for a while. They got back a little later. We took the priest aside. We said, did you go in there? Yeah. Did you see them? Yeah. What do they do? Do they like slaughter little animals or anything like that? Or, you know. He said, no, actually, they stand there like monks do. You know, monks in a monastery, they stand for hours praying. He said that's what they do. They just stand there and pray. And then they bow. And they do something that only the high priest gets to do, which is to put a sajda, or prostration. I said, really? He said, yeah. And then what? And then they leave. That's it? Yeah. Okay. What kind of music do they have? He said, they don't have any music. How in the world do you worship God without music? I was a music minister. Hello? So I went to my friend from Egypt. I said, excuse me, is it true you guys don't have any music in your mosques? He said, that's true. How many mosques are in the world? He said, millions. I said, millions. They all have electricity? He said, yeah. Because I sell electric pianos, organs. I was thinking, I could get rich. This is a good idea. Do you think they'd be interested in any music? He said, you could try. But I doubt it. You boy. See, he didn't want to make anything just like haram, haram, haram. Just let you get in the door. First thing first. La ilaha illallah. And he kept that first no matter what we brought up. No matter what was the subject. He'd get it back to La ilaha illallah. A few days more go by. The Catholic priest says, can I go again with you? He said, sure. He said, I found such peace there. I just want to go there again and feel that feeling again. So they left. And they didn't come back. They didn't come back. And it was so late at night. And they finally drove up the old country road out there. And when they got out of the car, right away I recognized the Muslim, you know. But who was this guy with him? Had on a white kufiya, a long white robe. That's the priest? What happened to you? Pete, did you become a Muslim? He said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu Muhammad Rasulullah. I was shocked. I considered this to be the biggest part of the story because this man had dedicated his entire life to the Lord. He had completely given up all worldly things so that he could be a priest. He could not get married. He could not have children. He cannot do this and that and so and so. They don't even gamble. They don't do anything. They just pray. So, wow, you giving all that up? He said, I'm giving up nothing. I'm gaining. I'm going, really? He said, this is the right way. I said, I know it is. So let me get my cameras out. We used to have a television show. I get my camera out, set it on a tripod, get the lights hooked up, put the microphones in. You guys know how long that takes. We get it all together. Guess what? The priest was asleep. So I went upstairs. I want to tell my wife, I'm still excited. I can't believe it. A priest entered Islam today. Can you believe that? A priest, a Catholic priest, became a Muslim, I'm telling her. She said, I want to get a divorce. I go, huh? Wait a minute. This is a different subject here. What happened? She said, I've been listening, talking, we were thinking about what's going on around here. I see where you're going, I know where I want to go, and a Muslim cannot be married to a Christian. We heard him say that. A Muslim can't be married to a Christian, so I want a divorce. I said, I'm not going to become no Muslim, take it easy. Did I say I want to be one of them guys? No, I didn't say that. Farthest thing from my mind. Forget about that. Let's go back to normal. And besides, he said that a Christian woman couldn't be married to a Muslim. A Muslim woman can't be married to a Christian man, you see. So if I became a Muslim, it would be all right for you to be a Christian. It's just that a Muslim woman can't be married to the Christian or Jew or anything else. She said, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I want to become a Muslim. Okay, I didn't see that coming. Okay, it's time to go into a save mode. There's what's called Plan B. By the way, there's some good news here. I too would like to be a Muslim. She said, what? I said, no, really, I want to do, but I didn't know how to tell you, so I also want to be a Muslim. So that's it, okay? She said, I don't believe you. I said, no, I just didn't know how to tell you. I didn't know what to say in front of Dad, but hey, you know, now that it's all out, I'm ready to be a Muslim. Da, 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 da. She said, you're a liar. I said, how can you say that? She said, you're either lying right now or you were lying 5 minutes ago when you said you didn't want to be a Muslim. Got me there all right. Yep, that's pretty true. She said, get out. Well, that's it, you know. I'm going down the steps and I'm thinking, you know, all my life, everything is just flashing in front of me. My wife, my kids, wait a minute, this is my father's house. How am I getting thrown out of here? So I go down. I wake up my friend from Egypt. I said, come outside. You and me, we got to talk. He said, what's the matter? I said, we got to go outside. Oh, yeah. We go outside. And I began to tell him my whole life story, everything. I don't know why I had to talk to somebody. So we walked up and down those country roads until the sun started to rise for Fajr. He was so patient. He listened so intently. And by the way, that wasn't the only time. This man was always ready to listen to my problems long after I got into Islam. But on this particular occasion, I really needed him to listen. As the sun started to rise and we saw the first little bit of orange, I told him, you better go pray your Fajr, and I got to figure out what to do. So I snuck off by myself. I found a big piece of board with a shelter over it, and I put it down. There's something in the Bible about making a booth to pray to the Lord, okay? I don't know if you knew about that. It's called the booth. And they set it up. I tried to face it toward what I figure is the east, about the direction he's aiming himself. And I put my head on the ground because I said, if it works for those Muslim guys, maybe it'll work for me. And with my head on the ground, I said these words only. Oh God, if you're there, guide me. And when I raised up my head, I understood everything. It was in me where the problem was. It's not out there. It's in here. And not until you begin to deal with this in here will you ever be able to get right with what's out here. Because when this is not right, your connection to Him is not right. And when that's not right, ain't nothing right. I had to become a Muslim, and I had to tell the truth, and I had to admit there could only be one God. Not two, not three. And God can forgive sin if He wants to. And He doesn't need to kill somebody else to get it done. In fact, I had to be responsible for my own sins. And that's the hardest part about changing out of Christianity to Islam, is to come to grips with the fact that you have to stand up and pay for what you did. You can't charge it to somebody else's American Express card. So that was it for me. I knew I had to go in, so I went in and I made a bath and I came downstairs and I was ready. And I stood there in front of my friend from Egypt and the brand new Muslim, the ex-priest, and I said these words, Ashhadu la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu Muhammad Rasulullah. A few minutes later, here came my wife right behind me, said the same thing. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu Muhammad Rasulullah. Without giving you the whole story tonight, I will tell you some weeks and months went by, but my father also said the same thing. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu Muhammad Rasulullah. And just before she died, my stepmother said, I've been listening to you guys for all these years, and I know that Jesus can't be a God or a son of a God. There can only be one God. Muhammad's his messenger. Allahu Akbar. She died a few months after that. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. At the age of about 86. Amazing, isn't it? Isn't it amazing how Allah works? Yesterday we gave Shahada to a man 63 years old. This year, in the spring of this year, we gave Shahada to a woman who was 99. And all of her children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, alhamdulillah, are Muslim. All of them, alhamdulillah, all Americans, by the way. It's amazing, isn't it? I've seen so many people enter Islam, and every time they do, I cry. I cry and they cry, and it feels good to know that there is this rahmah from Allah, that He will bring even the priests and the preachers of other religions to Islam. Did you know that people who are pundits from the Indian religion of Hinduism, I've seen them come in Islam? Yes. Have you heard of the Brahmin caste of the Hindus? The one who is making so much money selling CDs for Bollywood from India. A woman named, I think her name was, they used to call her Sharman or something like that. She had this big company doing millions of CDs for Bollywood. She had a dream one night. A vision. She said it was like being wide awake. I was in a store, she said, and I was looking at a book, and there was a special book in this store, and I knew I had to buy this book. If I ever see this book, I have to buy it. Her driver had taken her to some store. She was going to go in to do something. She realized this is the store, and this is the book. There it is. She started screaming, this is the book of my dream. I have to buy it. The vendor there said, well, then buy it. So she bought it and went home and read it. Guess what the book was? You're right. Translation of the Quran. She said, because this is from my dream, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to believe it, and I'm going to accept it. And she did. She became Muslim. Alhamdulillah. By the way, her driver had been driving for her for over 7 years. Then all of a sudden she found out he was Muslim. He never told her. She never knew. She thought he was a Hindu. The one who sold her the book was a Muslim. Didn't tell her that she was buying Quran, just said, give me the money. Imagine that. I'm wondering how many opportunities we miss every day. Because that lady came up to me as a brand new Muslim, and she said to me, I would like to take one of your tapes and make CDs out of it. I said, go ahead and have a good time. She did. She's made over 600,000 of them and distributed all over the United States. Many people came to Islam. Maybe some of you know about that because of her effort, not mine. We've done hundreds of thousands of these CDs, and we see the result of it all the time. But you know something? You don't have to just sit here and listen to the story. You can be part of this story. It's real easy. You can go to our website, islamtomorrow.com. Our other website where the CDs are right there for you, free. I don't know if anybody else came and offered you something for free. Maybe they did. But the website's there and it's free. You go to islamyesterday.com and download as many as those CDs as you'd like. Make copies of them and give them out to all the people. And let's find out how many more people will hear this message and say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu Muhammad Rasulullah. I'll give you a little free entertainment. It goes something like this. I was in Saudi Arabia recently, and I found, everybody's very style conscious. I don't know why. But, we think about Muslims should be like, the last thing in your mind is worrying about how your clothes look and things like that. But people of the Gulf, they're just like everybody else. They want to look nice, show off. And so that's why I'm wearing this outfit tonight. This bisht, as they call it. You see it, how it fits like this? And now I'm going to take this off and show you. Watch closely. See this? This is called what? Lecutre? Now you can put the igal, and this is real classy. But for the poor guy, he doesn't have igal. He can just go like this. It's good. He can also wrap around with it like this. Is that good? Like it? Thank you. I got excited, Okay, now, see this? Looks good, It's talent, man. But then what about the kids? They don't want it. That's old man stuff. So the kid said, you know what, Dad? Just let me have one of these. And when it's time for Salah, it's easy. Ma fi mushkila. Right? That's funny, huh? By the way, that's why I wore this all night long. I was getting tired of wearing this anyway. We flew in here today from Melbourne, and I guarantee you I didn't wear this on the airplane. But tomorrow, inshallah, when I leave, I can imagine if I put all this stuff on and that and get in the airplane right, every time I sneeze, they're going to go, oh! I know it's bad, Muslims shouldn't do it, but I've always had this idea, what if you had a briefcase, just leave it in the airport and go, what's that? That'll be all right, I'll tell you. Well, I've had a lot of fun here in the land down under. I got to tell you that it's been a lot of fun. As we say, it's been a real hoot. And no worries. G'day, mate. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
One Islam Productions, an Islamic film studio established in Australia, is dedicated to producing films for all Muslims. Just some of the films by One Islam Productions: children's programs, Islam for Me, We Remember Allah, Storytime, and more. Educational films, Pray as You Have Seen Me Pray, Words, Ramadan, Renewal of Faith. Documentaries. We at One Islam Productions believe that Islam is precious and deserves to be presented in only the highest quality. Visit us at www.oneislam.net for more information. One Islam Productions, a film production company run by Muslims.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a microphone and you don't. Assalamu alaikum. Whoa. Alhamdulillah. Bismillah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. فإن استقى حديث كتاب الله وخير هدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ما بعد. Praise is to Allah, and we thank Him and we ask for His peace and blessings to be upon Muhammad. The best speech is in the Book of Allah. The best following is to follow Muhammad, the last and final prophet. And the worst of all things that anybody could come up with is to invent something in Islam that doesn't belong there. Because those inventions are misleading, misguiding, dalala. And all of that misguidance winds up going into the fire, and that's exactly what we don't want. We seek refuge with Allah from that. Ameen. And having said that, I would like to address a few questions and then assure you that there's a way for you to get answers to all your questions. But in the interest of time, many of you have things that you need to do. And we'll also have another program tomorrow night anyway. I think you heard about that one. Maybe you'll come be with us over there. What I'll do is answer a few and then try to give the ones that I usually get. Then you can go to our websites and find so many answers to questions there. At Islam Always, Islam Yesterday, and IslamTomorrow.com. First question here, it says, what advice do you give us to bring people to Islam? We have a brand new CD that we put together based on many programs just like this, where I explain to the people what Islam is, the words, what they mean. And then a radio show, a Christian radio show, where they interviewed me and asked me questions. I explained Islam and jihad in about 4 minutes, and they loved it. So much that they broadcast it and put it up on the internet, and I said, hey, wait a minute, we need that for us. So that's there. Then about 8 minutes explaining the word Allah. The explanation I gave you tonight, only a lot more because I took it from some of the textbooks. And then, what is the Shahada? We broke that down to talk about it. And then we gave an example. You can hear a man walk up on the stage and make his Shahada or enter into Islam. Then we put another one there, which was a lady who also, on another occasion, wanted to come to Islam. And then the audio track of a video we have called 135 People Make Shahada, or 135 People Enter Islam. And that was in a university in Curacao a couple of years ago. 135 people in the audience stood up and said, Ashhadu la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu Muhammad Rasulullah. Alhamdulillah. Then after that, we have another section of the CD that talks about how to help the people after they get into Islam, which I think maybe is as important as the rest of the whole subject. And then we summed it all up and talked about how to use our internet websites for dawah. All of this is free. There's no price tag on what I do, because I want to be paid by Allah. I need that. I don't need you. I need Him. I love you for Allah. You notice that? But not instead of Allah. I pray to Him to take care of what we need to do to spread this message. Because if He gives us the success, everything will be fine. But if He doesn't, all the money in the world is not going to help us. There's too many people today from all religions, even Muslims, running around collecting money and then doing nothing with it, at least nothing to help promote the deen. And I don't need to join that group. So that's my advice. Don't look at the dawah as a commercial enterprise. Don't try to treat it like a business, because it isn't. It's tijara with Allah, yes. You're making business with Allah. But don't try to commercialize on it, because it don't work. Next question. How did your family react when you went to Islam? Whoa! Well, I already told you my dad accepted Islam, but the rest of my family lived down in Houston, and my mom did not go for that. My mom was a school teacher for 40 years. She taught the special ed department, mentally retarded, they used to call them. She wrote curriculum. She's a very educated person, very educated. But she looked me in the face and she said, God is three. Just like that. I said, really? The Bible said one. She said, yes, God is one and God is three. I said, Mom, you're an educated person. You know math and you know English. Mathematically, 1 can never equal 3 and 3 can never equal 1. I've never seen any equation where a number changes without something happening to it. 1 is 1, 3 is 3. Grammatically, it's incorrect to have a plural for the subject, but the verb is singular. These are. These are. Those are. This is. So when you say God, you have to say is, right? But then the nominative can't be plural because it's singular. God is one, that works. But if you're going to say God is three, you have to say God are three. Then you have to go back and say gods are three if you want to be correct in English. You know what she said? You just don't understand. You just have to have faith. Just have to have faith, and then numbers don't matter anymore. And language doesn't matter anymore. And common sense doesn't matter anymore as long as you have faith. Huh? Their reaction was very negative. But good news. After time, I stopped arguing. I started out debating. I had seen some debate tapes and I thought that's the way to call the people to Islam. How many of you seen any debate tapes? You seen them? Everybody saw them, right? Tell you what you do. Go out, memorize those tapes, then go out here and try it yourself and see what happens. It's not going to work. You're just going to make an argument. And another argument, and another argument, and another argument, and another argument. If you like to argue, go to Pal Talk. Those are what they do all the time over there. Argue, argue, argue. Boy, did I slam him. Boy, did I put him down. Ha, ha, ha. Have you seen that? You know what I'm talking about? We said the best guidance is to follow Muhammad. Yes? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Did he do that? Did he cut people down? Make fun of them? Ridicule them? Condescend? Yes or no? You know he never did that. Even when they attacked him, abused him, threw stones on him at Taif, he prayed for them. Yes or no? And this was the way of all the prophets. Even when their people turned against them, they would be amazed. How could you turn against me? I'm coming to you with a message of salvation. But they still prayed for them. Yes? So why are we taking this attitude of I have to smash these people? Huh? And what if that Christian that you're out here picking on today, insulting today, cutting down his Bible, trying to make fun of him, trying to find something wrong with what he says, what if he made his shahada? How will you embrace him tomorrow as your brother? Huh? Won't you be a little bit shy to realize how you talk to him? Did you forget that Allah told us that He made all of us from the same person? Did you forget that all of us came from Adam and Eve? Did you know that Allah said that nobody knows for sure who's going and who ain't? People go through their whole life acting like somebody of the hellfire. But at the last minute, they become believers and they go to paradise, and vice versa. People act like somebody going to paradise at the last minute. They blow it and they go to hell. Is that summation? I know it says an arm length away, but you know what I'm talking about? You want to keep debating them, I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to ruin your opportunity here in Australia. You're going to make this unfit for your children to live in. Don't do it. Islam is not about munadhara. It never was. It's not about debate. Islam is about what? Conveying a message and praying for the people. And ask yourself, with these people who debate, did they tell you to get up in the night and cry and pray for the person? No. They won't. But that's exactly what Prophet ﷺ used to do. That's exactly what I do. And that's exactly what the man did for me who was giving me dawah. Because I caught him one night. Yes. I got up for something and I went downstairs and I saw him in the living room in the dark and I could tell he was doing something, and I asked him later, what was that? I thought you guys only pray 5 times a day. Was that a prayer? He said, yeah, it's a nice prayer, but I'll tell you later. After I got to Islam, I remembered it and I went to him. I said, were you praying for me to come to Islam, that Allah would guide me that night I caught you down there? He said, every night. Every night. Do you get up and do that for somebody to get to Islam? Maybe that's why you didn't see anybody make shahada. The people of dawah, real dawah, taught me this. You make your dawah in the day and you make your dua in the night. Like a farmer plants the seeds in the day and then you water it with your tears at night. And maybe Allah will have mercy and let them come to Islam. And maybe Allah have mercy and forgive you for not doing a better job. Next question. How many priests become Muslims in the United States? Oh, and another one, how many leave Islam? Okay, so that's fair. That's very fair. I don't know how many priests go to Islam. But I do know a lot of them that I talked to that didn't go, but they said Islam was the right religion. Father John in Arlington, Texas, he's the chaplain for the Catholics on campus at the Texas University. He loves to come around the Muslims. Every event we had, he was coming around being with us. Helping. He'd be the usher. Maybe he'll move chairs. He was just there. He was like, you know. One time I called him up. I said, Father John, it just seems to me like you like Islam. He said, yes. And you like the Muslims? He said, yes. I said, can I ask you a question? I didn't know anything about dawah. I just asked him straight out. Why don't you become a Muslim? He said, and lose my job? How many leave Islam? I don't know about the priests leaving Islam. I don't think I heard of any of them that left, but I do know that some people go in Islam and they leave. Some of them, they get the wrong notion. They go in for one reason. It's not the right reason, so they go back out. Other people get turned off by the things they see us do as Muslims, and they leave. Yeah, I saw that. But some people enter with an agenda and plan to leave when they came in just to make trouble for everybody. That happened to me. When I was in Virginia, after a speech like this, I had the microphone and a man said, let me have the microphone, I want to say something. I said, okay, I gave him the microphone. It was Egyptian, I could tell by his face and everything, he looked Egyptian. He was speaking with Arabic accent. He even said, Jazakallah khair, which means Allah increase you in all that's good. And then he said, it's, you know, good for you that you're in a country, meaning America, where you can be a preacher, a priest, and then switch over to become a Muslim. And nobody will say anything, and you can even preach about it. But in my country, in Egypt, he says, and he's got the microphone, he's walking away now. shouting at the people, I used to be a scholar of Islam, he says. And I became a Christian and they want to kill me, they want to cut my head off, he says. I'm shocked. How can this guy do this? We got it on videotape. If you doubt what I'm telling you, watch it for yourself. Amazing. I'm watching this guy go. He said, and I've got it all on tape. It's all here. I've got my tapes. They're $5, 3 for 10. And I'm going, what's this? There were some people who had come that night to enter to Islam. We had a lot of people at the university who had planned on going into Islam. And here's this guy putting on a road show here. And I'm thinking, my God. And he's got the microphone. You know what it's like not to have it? Try it like this and see what happens. Now you see the difference? I looked down on the stage and I saw it look like a snake moving. It was the wire for the microphone. I stomped on it. And when I did, he went, boing, 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 boing. I reached down, I grabbed the cable, started pulling him back. Like a fish, you know. And I got him right up to the edge of the stage. I reached down and took the microphone. I said, you're a bad boy. I had no clue. But I asked the people, is anybody here with this man? There was a certain group all raised their hand. They said they were Coptic Christians. They were with him. I said, does this man's behavior represent your religion? They said, well, no. I said, well, how many of you support the way he just did that? They said, we don't. I said, well, I'm going to ask you guys, do you want him to stay or go? And they said, go. So I told them, you better behave or else I'm going to take your friend's suggestion. I didn't know really what to say to this man, but I just knew that didn't sound right. The way he did it, the way he came across, especially because he's out here selling his tapes at our event. But I got the chance, a year later, to go to Cairo, Egypt. So I went to the very university that he claimed that he was a professor at. A scholar of Islam, he said. And I asked the scholars there, and I got the video camera out, and I asked them on tape to tell us about this situation. Immediately they knew who we were talking about. They said, he uses the name Mustafa, doesn't he? I said, yeah, that's him. They said, yes, we know all about him. Yes, he was a professor of history. And yes, he was here, but he knew nothing about Islam. He accepted Islam right here at this university, and he had a certificate that said so in Arabic, and that's what he was showing the people in the United States, saying that he was a scholar. It was actually his shahada. And then he left Islam because they gave him money from one of the churches there to do it. And the government of Egypt doesn't support that kind of activity, and yes, they want to kick him out because that makes trouble. People kill each other over that kind of stuff there, so they didn't want him back. His government did kick him out. True. But then they said, next time you see him, shake hands with him. And while you've got his hand, just slide his shirt back a little bit and look right here on his wrist. Anybody here been in Egypt? Know any Coptic Christians? You know what I'm talking about? What's on his wrist? Salib, the cross. You know. He said because he was born as a Christian, raised as a Christian, and did it as a trick just to upset the Muslims. And I said, Alhamdulillah, Allah Jalla Muslimin. Because in our religion, in Islam, there's no room for that kind of activity. We cannot play games like that. And some people have gone to the extent to go to Muslim countries and tell little children, if you need something, why don't you ask Muhammad? They do that to these little kids. And of course, they say, you want candy? They say, yeah. Say, oh Muhammad, nothing happens. Now say Jesus, Jesus. And they say Jesus, and they throw candy through the windows of the school. So the kids see the candy coming in. I heard about that. Is that the way you sell your religion? Now, to be fair, Christians don't do that. That's just a few missionaries. But still, it shows that some people misrepresent their religion really bad, because the Bible doesn't give them permission to do that. Christianity doesn't allow people to act like that. But you know something else? To be fair again, there are some people out there claiming to represent Islam, and they sure don't represent us. True? But still we have to let Allah deal with these people. When did I enter Islam? Next question. July 15th, 1991. Alhamdulillah. And second question, with it, and how do you find Islam? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I'm reminded of one time when I was in Hajj with one of the big scholars of Hadith from Egypt. His name is Muhammad Hussein. What's his name? Has a big, huge beard. We were in Hajj. He said about Hajj that it was beautiful like the flowers. I said, that's the way Islam is to me, beautiful like the flowers. I love it. Alhamdulillah. Last question. That was it. Oh, you got some more over here. Oh, they're asking advice for somebody not Muslim that's seeking the truth but is hesitant. The same thing I always tell everybody. Take everything one step at a time. Don't get in a hurry. Don't get in a hurry. Be sure you're right. Be sure you understand what you're doing. If you have a reservation, if something's bothering you, ask like I asked. God, guide me. If He wants you to know, He'll guide you to the truth. You'll know and you'll be fine. That's what you got to do. You cannot force Islam on somebody else, and you can't force it on yourself. Do we have any tonight here who accepted Islam? You made a conscious decision at some point in your life. You said, I want to be a Muslim, and you started practicing Islam. Please raise your hands. Alhamdulillah, mashallah. That's great. One of the things that happens to us, though, when we get into Islam, we have a tendency to try to go too fast, do too much, too soon. It happens. You want to do everything. We're so excited, you know. It's like you've been starving all your life and somebody turns you loose in a candy shop, you know. But that's dangerous. You got to go one step at a time. Because Allah doesn't get interested in, excited about you coming to Islam with a whole bunch of stuff and then leaving tomorrow. Do what you can do. Do the minimum, step by step. As you understand, practice that. This is the way the Prophet ﷺ used to insist. When he sent Mu'adh bin Jabal to Yemen, he told him, I'm sending you to a land of the Christians, teach them Tawheed. He also said in another hadith, teach them about La ilaha illallah, and if they accept that, then teach them about Muhammad Rasulullah. In other words, step by step. And then teach them Salah, and then teach them Zakah, the worship, the charity. Step by step. Next question. Is the Egyptian still around? He went back to Upper Egypt. Alhamdulillah. This one is a question from Pal Talk. They said that the non-Muslims often say we worship a god, a moon god. Is this something spread among the Christians in general? Not really. What happened, there was one person in California, Dr. Robert Morey, who wrote a book, the name of it, The Moon God, called Allah. He refers to some archaeological findings and the reference to some anthropologists who have discovered some things in Yemen and other places in Arabia that indicate that people long, long ago had a god that they worshiped, the moon god. Okay? And all of us know from what we just said tonight that the word in Arabic for the one God has always been Allah anyway. The people of Muhammad's time, peace be upon him, even before message came, they said Allah. Even the Christians said Allah. Even the Jews said Allah. And even the mushrikeen said Allah. The people who were the pagans, idolaters, basically non-believers, still use the word Allah. To associate that word Allah with the moon god is something that they may have done. But it's clear from the Quran itself that you can't even worship anything that makes you think of something in the creation. This is very clear in Islam. That is the key that makes the monotheism of Islam so distinct and different from any other religion on earth today. Even the Christians and Jews who say we believe God is one still don't have the monotheistic opinion of his Isma wa Safa, or his characteristics, which is his names and so on, his attributes, nor in his uluhiyyah, the worship to him alone, nor in his rububiyyah, or his lordship. So if you know that, you understand right away this tawheed, or oneness, monotheism in Islam, is so unique, it's impossible that anybody is saying, oh, I believe in Allah and the moon at the same time. It just doesn't work. By the way, we sent email to Dr. Robert Morey some years ago. He said, I don't debate with anybody except with scholarly background and their credentials. So I sent him my credentials. I never do that because I don't want people calling me by doctor or anything like that, because it's not why I'm here. I didn't come out here to sell you anything, and I didn't come out here to get a job in a university. I just came out to tell a little story about priests and preachers come to Islam. But when I provided the credentials, he didn't answer us. Then he opened up a website. He's got a website out there. It's really bad. Attacking Islam, horrible. His whole website is not about what he believes. It's about what he doesn't believe about Islam. Just attacking Islam. It's his only purpose. Beautiful looking website. Put it together really nice. Spend a lot of money on it. Keep it up, constantly attacking. Amazing. So I sent, they give a list of all these people there that you could send email to. So I sent each one of them an email offering the opportunity that we'd like to discuss with him his opinion, help us to understand a little better some things we don't know about our religion. His daughter responded, and I actually got to open up a conversation with her. She agreed that, yeah, my dad will do that, no problem, he'll come there, he'll tell you. I said, that's good, help us, you know. It was set for February, year 2000. He was supposed to come to Georgetown University, a very prestigious university in Washington, D.C. Imam Yahya Hindi was made aware of it. Dr. John Esposito was made aware. They both work at that university, and they have the big dialogue center there for this. And I said, this is perfect. Bring them in. Dr. John Esposito has written a lot of books about Islam, although he's a Christian. And I said, this is great. Come on. I won't even do it. It won't even be me. Okay? Sit with another Christian who's an expert in Christianity, and you can do that. Guess what? February came and went. March came and went. And basically every month since then came and went, and we never heard from him again. But he still sells his books at Borders Books and Music, Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com. They still sell the book. They make money out of it. We've tried to offer a challenge to at least show us any proof besides that one book that he has. But today, many people attacking Islam take his book and want to go out there and use it as a reference. And they do. Even though it's riddled with all kinds of mistakes, errors, inaccuracy, and bald-faced lies. Allah guide him. We pray for our enemies in Islam. Isn't that nice? I bet he doesn't pray for us. But we pray for him. Allah guide him. Good question. What's my opinion about Paul? Did he believe in the true way, or was he trying to distort the message of Jesus preached? According to the Bible, Paul's real name was Saul. He was a Pharisee. According to other stories, Christian history, he was engaged to the daughter of the high priest, another Pharisee. Her name was Poppaea. Historically, we know about her because she's mentioned in the works of Josephus. She couldn't stand this man. He was an ugly-looking person. According to the Bible, too, he was not attractive. So she left. She broke off the engagement by leaving. She left her dad, or she left her house, she left her religion. She became an actress, a stage person. I don't know if they were really acting or dancing, what she did. But Caesar married her. She married Caesar. And it was right after this that the father, her father, gave Paul his last papers and said, this is it. His final papers were given to him to go to Damascus in Syria, where he was going to persecute again the people of the way. Along the way, he said he had a blinding light experience. Jesus talked to him, and he became Paul and began getting all kinds of spiritual revelation through dreams, visions, etc. And everything he had was from that. He never knew Jesus other than through these blinding light experiences or whatever they were. This is all narrated in the book of the Acts of the Apostles. It's interesting, I did a little bit of research with some materials from Ahmadiyya, Dr. Jamal Bedawi, some of the others. I was still new to Islam when I was looking at this. That was a stumbling block for me, by the way. And I realized, here's an amazing thing. I read it all my life and didn't catch it until I read somebody else telling me about it. So in this way, I do appreciate the work that some of these scholars have done, because it helps you to see. Paul told the story 3 times in the book of Acts, and not one of them is the same as the other. Read it. He says, in the first instance, he's the only one that hears or sees anything. The next instance, they hear it, they don't see it, or they see it and they don't hear it. But he's the only one falling to the ground. They're just standing there, and he gets blind twice. But in the third time, he doesn't get blind. Everybody sees it and hears it. Everybody falls down and hears his message, etc., etc. So the story is not the same. According to the Bible, it says that Paul said that he's dead to the law. He said, because of the law, I sin. If it weren't for the law, I wouldn't sin. Therefore, I'm dead to the law, and the law is dead to me. He also broke the commandments and taught that you could break the commandments, because he said you don't have to circumcise anymore. You don't have to do the khatan. You don't do that khatan anymore. You just have circumcision of the heart. Well, that has a lot of problems. I won't go into it right now, but that's kind of strange. Because this is just a question and answer thing, I'll refer to one thing and get off the subject. Jesus told them, according to what we have in the Bible, if you want to believe the Bible, it says in Matthew 5:17, 18, 19, Jesus told them, don't think I came to destroy the law and the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but rather to fulfill. And not until all things are accomplished shall a single dot, jot, iota, tittle be in any wise lessened. Can't change any word. And that's strange. You know what I just read to you? Those are 5 words that are in 5 different versions, and they're changed. The word itself. Amazing. But he continues and he says, whoever breaks the least commandment and teaches this will be the least in the kingdom. But whoever keeps the commandments and teaches this will be the highest in the kingdom. And look at the next statement. Unless your righteousness exceeds that of the Pharisees, the religious people, you will never enter paradise. Paul was a Pharisee. Next question. Why do I wear Arabic clothing? Well, for one thing, this is kind of heavy and it's warm. It's cold today. I like people to know I'm a Muslim. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm very, very proud of it. If they don't like it, Allah guide them. The only time that I will compromise, because I don't have to compromise what I wear, is if there'll be a benefit. When I ride in an airplane today, most people are terrified already to get in an airplane before any Muslim ever gets in it. But if they see a Muslim in an airplane, they start shaking. And you see them when we get on the ground and they're going, but just walking down the street, there may come a day, maybe when we can't be safe just to wear our clothes anymore. I don't know. The second question, why the beard? That's funny. Why do you have eyebrows? Allah put it there. Are you asking me why I don't shave it off? Why don't you shave off your eyebrows? Why? If you're going to say, well, because everybody does it, well, now that's always a good reason to do something, isn't it? If everybody else does it, that's your excuse. Huh? What do the majority of the people of Melbourne do on Friday night? They don't come to religious lectures, do they? No. The majority of the people in this room are Muslim. The majority of the people that we invited to come, the non-Muslims, saw fit to do something else. And most of them are going to have a hangover tomorrow because of it. Am I right or wrong? So the most of the people in the world today, in the free world that I know about, get drunk, waste their money, and act like fools on Friday and Saturday night. So is that an excuse that I can go do it too? Is it? So when you cut your beard off, why'd you do it? Why? Did Rasulullah tell you to cut it or let it grow? Sahih Bukhari, volume, I think it's volume 8, hadith number 798. I think that's where it is. We can find it for you though. Let it grow. Leave it alone. Let it grow out and cut this. That's what it says in the hadith. But a brother comes to me and he says, Imam, please make dua for me. I said, okay. For what? He said, make dua, I can grow my beard. Make dua, I'll grow my beard. I said, I can't do that. He said, why? I said, that's shirk. He said, shirk? How is it shirk? Did you make dua for me to grow my beard? Shirk means to make partners with Allah. You want me to make partners with Allah? He said, I just asked you to make dua that I want to grow my beard. Just make dua, grow my beard. I said, I can't. Because it is Allah who grows your beard, not you. But I will make dua that you quit cutting it off. Alhamdulillah. One brother, he said, yeah, but you know my wife, she said, you know, she really likes me to shave it off and keep it smooth. I said, you got to wonder about a woman who wants her husband to look like another woman. Do you know they never invited me back to that community again? I don't know why. When we preach Islam to people, what should we talk about? Allah. What should we talk about? Allah. What was the first thing I talked about when I came on stage? You remember? I said, I'm going to tell you about a word. The word is Allah. Why we use the word? Because it means the only one worthy to be worshipped. He has no partners. He's one, unique, the creator, the sustainer of the universe. There's nothing that happens except by His command. He is the owner. He's the ruler on the day of judgment. He's the only one that you can turn to for your needs. The only one that really cares. the only one that you should care about, pleasing Him. That's what you're talking about. Sometimes I quote hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said about Allah. I like this one. Whoever tries to please the people at the expense of displeasing Allah, Allah is displeased with that person and He makes the people displeased. But whoever tries to please Allah, even at the expense of displeasing the people, Allah is pleased with them and He'll make the people be pleased with them eventually. This is a good hadith. He said that. And so many times the non-Muslim says to me, that makes sense. We should do what we do for God, not for showing off. Say, all right. Makes sense. Talk about Allah. Oh, hat. Hat. I thought it said hut. What does the hut, hat, and dress have to do with conversion to Islam? And relevant is the dress. I guess I don't understand the question. But if you're asking about my clothes, I didn't know you guys are so fascinated in clothing, but just to tell you that I like it. I really like it. I used to wear suits. I was in business. Suits which had belts that were real tight, you know, and a vest. And you know what? When you're going to go eat with Muslims, they're going to force food on you, am I right? You better have some place to put it. And having that belt around you ain't where it's at. So you just, I gained 100 pounds. Okay. Somebody said, I read that there are some differences between one Bible and another. Tell us some of these differences. I'll do better than that. Because if I tell you something tonight, you're not going to remember it tomorrow. I tell you, you're not going to remember it. You won't. But I tell you what you can do. Go to the website, because I wrote all of it down and put it on the website. Go to islamtomorrow.com/Bible and read every chapter of the book that I wrote. All our stuff is free. I didn't make it as a book so you could buy it. I made it as a book on the internet so you could just have it free. And that's one of the books. Bible, A Closer Look. Read it. Enjoy it. Print it out. Go sell it. Have a good time. I like you guys. You laugh at my silly jokes. Said, I also read the Bible doesn't discuss all the life issues, but the Quran discussed everything. For example, something about money of the prophets after their deaths to distribute. Okay, inheritance, etc. Actually, I don't know. You may know more about this than me. What I know is pretty limited. I'm just a new guy on the block, set with people of knowledge, but not much of it rubbed off on me. I tried. But what I learned was that the Quran and something like it complete the deen for us. The Quran and something like it complete the deen for us. It's a hadith. Muhammad ﷺ said, I've been sent with the Quran and something like it. Meaning what? His sunnah. We know that his sunnah explains Islam. The Quran tells us, for instance, iqam as-salah, establish the worship. But where in the Quran does it say that you pray asr whenever the shadow is twice the length of the object? Where does it say in the Quran that you pray fajr just as soon as the light first starts from the day? Where does it say in the Quran that dhuhr is right after the sun hits the median and starts to move over? Where does it say any of that? It doesn't, does it? How do you know? In fact, how do you know it's 5 times a day? Salawat al-Khams is not in the Quran. You know it from the Sunnah. So, when you mention the Quran tells us to look to the Sunnah, to obey Allah's Messenger, because obedience to Him is obedience to Allah. And Allah also used this phrase in the Quran, when he said, if you really love Allah, Qul in kuntum tuhibun Allah fatabi'uni yuhibbukum Allah. If you really love Allah, then follow me. Then, and only then, will Allah love you. And He'll forgive your sins. He's the forgiver, the merciful. So we know that between the two, the Sunnah, the Hadith, the stories, the narrations, and the Quran, it is complete deen. Everything is there. And within that, it covers everything. Not just about inheritance, by the way. Check this out. Tell me any religion that has documentation from their prophet showing you how to go to the toilet correctly. Huh? Nobody. In fact, they don't even tell you how to eat. The Prophet ﷺ taught us when you eat or drink, sit down. A few years ago, I was coming back from a program late at night, and I was so tired I couldn't drive. And I put my head down on the steering wheel at the red light, and my little daughter was with me. She said, "Daddy, wake up! Wake up!" I said, "I can't. I'm falling asleep." I put my head back on the steering wheel. The light turned green. She said, "Daddy, wake up!" She turned the radio all the way up. And it wasn't music because I listened to those talk shows, right? Guess what? First words come out of that radio. Always sit down when you eat or drink. Never stand up when you eat or drink. I said, "What's that? Who's this?" Jamaat Tabligh is in town. That's the Sunnah. Allahu Akbar. And the guy continues and he's saying that the damage that's caused to the esophagus, the stomach, the bowel, the this and that, and he's going on, and all the damage done just because you're standing up when you're eating and drinking. Half-hour program. I was home by the time it was over, and I'm thinking, wow. Now, if I stand up or sit down, based on what I heard from this man, it won't be from Allah, will it? If I sit down now because I know my health will benefit from it, because the doctor said so, that means I didn't accept from Muhammad sallallahu. I accepted it from somebody, some non-Muslim telling me that. Make sense? Amazing, huh? We have a program many years ago we did called Just the Sunnah. It deals with so many of the things in the Sunnah that we wouldn't know without this. Food is one. How to sit when you eat. How you hold your hand. Which hand you eat with. Which hand you clean with. All of that we know from the Sunnah. But there's more. So much more. And I heard so many Muslims say something like this. It really hurt me when I got in Islam. I heard some Muslims attacking our own religion. And you'd say, "Brother, how come you do so-and-so and you don't do such and such?" "Brother, that's just the Sunnah. Brother, that's just Sunnah. Just Sunnah. Just Sunnah." So that's why we called it Just the Sunnah. And we give all the proofs of the beauty of Islam to the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's also in the Sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam that after the Salat al-Isha, not to have any program, but to go take some rest so you can get up in the night and worship Allah. So with that in mind, I want to end this little Barnabij, this little program, so I can try to follow that Sunnah and ask that all of us will be successful in doing the same thing. I'm happy to be here with my brothers and sisters. And I thank Allah for letting me come here to Australia. And I thank all of you for your attendance and your patience in our program tonight. I have only one request from all of you. I'm going to make two requests. Can I do that too? First request, make dua. Second request, see if we can come back and do it again. Assalamu alaikum. I didn't get very far, did I? But I don't mind. My paycheck's coming. I'll wait. I'll be patient. You see, what I want from Allah, you can't give me. I want to watch people when they make their shahada so I can remember how much I really felt the day I made shahada. So anytime somebody wants to enter Islam, I don't mind waiting. Take your time. Come on over here. Come on, it's okay. Yeah, come on, right over here. Hi, how are you doing? What do you think about Islam?
I think it's the truth.
Think it's the truth? Okay, see if this, yeah, you can get up close to that. Tell me your name. My name is Yusuf. What we're going to do right now is go over a couple of points with you and see if you agree. We as Muslims believe there really is a God. So much so that we think about Him a lot all day long. And we try our best to do what He wants us to do. We know we're going to mess up, but we always ask Him to forgive us and we try again the next day. We believe He's one and He doesn't have partners. And we believe His message came as the Quran. Do you believe that? Okay. And we believe that He sent a lot of messengers with this message. Adam, and Noah, and Abraham, and Moses, Solomon, David, and Jesus, and Muhammad. Do you believe that? Okay. And there's a lot of things as you go through life, you learn more and more. You never learn everything, but each day is a new experience. You take one step at a time. So today is your first step, and this step is the easiest step, but it has the most profound effect on your life right now. In English, I will say it, and then we can do it in Arabic. Is that fair? Okay. Just repeat after me. I bear witness.
I bear witness.
In open testimony.
In open testimony.
There's no God to worship.
There's no God to worship.
Except the one true God.
Except the one true God.
Allah. And I bear witness.
And I bear witness.
That Muhammad is His messenger.
Is His messenger.
And Jesus
And Jesus
is His messenger.
is His messenger.
Now we'll do the Arabic. It's real simple, and I'll do it slow, and you just say what I say. It means exactly the same thing, inshallah. Ashhadu
Ashhadu
an la ilaha. La ilaha. Illa Allah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah wa Isa Rasulullah. Rasulullah. Allahu Akbar. Now, before you leave, I want to tell you that this is the best day of your life. Because what just happened on this stage right here is an amazing thing that was described by John the Baptist and Jesus and Muhammad, peace be upon them. Because what they said was when a person entered into the right belief, into the way of Islam, Allah forgives all of your sins since the day you were born, restores you now to the original condition as a newborn virgin baby, and where He removed all the sins, He replaced it with mountains and mountains of good deeds. So you're the richest person in all of Melbourne right now, because you have all these mountains of good deeds, no sins, and your prayers are accepted immediately from Him now. And the first prayer from you, I hope you'll make for me and for us, that Allah forgive us and make us good Muslims. Ameen? Ameen. Okay. And now you will be responsible to take care of her and help her step by step. Inshallah, you have a big job, but you have a big reward. Because just teaching somebody Bismillah will get you a reward for that forever and ever. Because she said this so many times. And her children and grandchildren, and so you have a great opportunity with Allah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum. I remember something about the Sahabi, that whenever something like this happened, they didn't copy the way of the kuffar by clapping. They used to say Allahu Akbar, and I like that. So if you want to say that, it's good. Keep saying it, it's good for us. I feel good. I like it. I love it. Yeah, man! Allahu Akbar! I gotta tell you, have I got time to tell them a funny story? We got time for a funny story? Some of you know that I work as a national chaplain. I'm really retired now, but I work harder now than when I was getting paid. But I had the opportunity, and I grabbed it in a minute, to be the Muslim delegate as the chaplain to the United Nations World Peace Summit for religious leaders in the year 2000, and it was an amazing thing, amazing. But one of the things that happened while I was there for that week at the United Nations building, I only, by the way, we had more people than this, okay? Only religious leaders from around the world. Muslims, Hindus, lots of Christians, Orthodox, Catholics, Jews of all kinds. And the one who put up all the money for this event, because it costs money to do it, he put up $1 billion. Yes. His name is Ted Turner. You ever heard of CNN? Yeah. But he wanted to broadcast it on his network, so he put up $1 billion. Oh yeah. Plus, he wanted to be the keynote speaker. Okay. Plus, he wanted to tell everybody about his new religion, because he became a Janist, one of the Hindus' religions. They have many religions from the Hindus, break-offs, and he was a Janist, and he wanted to talk about it. Okay? I'm setting the story up because you got to see what happened. Through the whole thing, people gave speeches after speeches, and I was supposed to give a speech. That's why I was there. Alhamdulillah. It didn't work out. They didn't let me give it. But I'll tell you what did happen. Muslims were clapping right along with everybody else for each thing that happened. Somebody say anything and they get ready to go, or, you know. And I didn't want to do that, because I said, I'm a Muslim now, I have to do what the Muslims do. So most of the stuff people said, I didn't believe it anyway. A lot of weird stuff they were talking about. But sometimes it doesn't matter if they're Christian or Jew. They said good things that we should really acknowledge. So on the second day, I said, no, I'm not going to play this game. I'm not going to clap, and I don't want to sit still, so I'm going to do it. Allahu Akbar! And the people looked at me. They were clapping all. Oh! And they didn't know where it came from. And then somebody said something a little later on. It was really great. Everybody jumped to their feet, standing ovation. I jumped up. Allahu Akbar! Now they know it's that guy over there, the one in the weird clothes. Oh, that's a Muslim. The guards, security guards, were looking at me like 61-year-old man. They're afraid. I didn't even have a briefcase. Kofi Annan came, gave a speech, then they introduced Ted Turner. And he came out, and it's a weird deal, by the way. Like, this is a podium on a stage. In the United Nations, the podium is up real high, and they have to climb up there. It's like a mimbar in reverse, you know, and he hangs off the end of it. And he's up, you know. But I happen to be sitting up up like that, even with him. Okay? Ted Turner got up there, and they didn't like what I was saying, you know? So before he started, now think, in front of all the people on television, he paid $1 billion to tell his story, but before he started his story, he pointed right at me, and he said, "Are you going to say that again?" The cameras go right on to me. And I go, "It all depends on what you say." He was so frustrated. He couldn't think what to say. They had introduced him as the world's most wealthy man in real estate. They said nobody owns more real estate, property, housing than this man. Number one. Besides his interest that he has in broadcasting, he's number one in real estate, property. Wow. And his speech starts like this. You know, I'm really worried about people of the world today. So many people are homeless. They have no place to go and nowhere to live. When he backed up from the microphones, guess what? I said, Allahu Akbar! From the man who has the most real estate, he can take care of everybody. There was nobody there that could keep from laughing on that one. But it cost me. I didn't get to give the speech, but I said, you know what? I'll take those two words right there on Yawm al-Qiyamah over any speech that was given. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. I want to leave, inshallah, but I don't want you to stop saying it till I get out of here. Assalamu alaikum. Allahu Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right, jazakumullah khair. He's gone now, it's my turn. May Allah reward you. Allahu Akbar always, inshallah. Allah is the greatest. My dear brothers and sisters, last night we were stunned, amazed by what we saw on television. Obviously this is something that is upsetting and frustrating. And we as Muslims, we would like to pay our condolences to those who've suffered through this. We dislike terror, regardless where it comes from. Whomever was behind this, whether they're Jews, Christian, Buddhist, monks, Muslims, we as Muslims condemn that action. As we condemn the action of the Americans in Iraq, and the Zionists in Palestine, and the Russians in Chechnya, and the Indians in Kashmir. We condemn these actions. And we dislike any person or any group that causes terror. We had to clarify this. We dislike them because Allah dislikes them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in Al-Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُعْتَدِينَ. Allah dislikes the transgressors. So this is something that we need to clarify. We've had many questions, so I just thought I'd clarify this. My dear brothers and sisters, tomorrow our lecturer, may Allah reward him, Brother Yusuf Staz, he'll be given another talk inshallah in Copeland Theatre, Melbourne University, Gate 12. And the talk will be, the lecture of it will be Who is Going to Paradise. So it's a very, very interesting talk inshallah, and I hope that he'll recover inshallah by tomorrow fully. May Allah reward each one of you for attending here. You have inspired us and you've encouraged us. And I ask Allah the Almighty to keep the Muslims steadfast on Islam. And I ask Allah to guide the non-Muslims to Islam. Wallah, the greatest asset that we have, the greatest privilege that we have is Islam. And we as Muslims should not be misers and greedy and selfish. We should share this beauty of Islam with our actions and our behavior. Many of us speak about Islam, but unfortunately when it comes to practical action, they seem to be far away from it. Let us live Islam, my dear brothers and sisters, so we can show it to others, because the others are stumbling in the dark. They are in need to give nutrition to their soul. They are given it with football, they are given it with drugs, with alcohol, with gambling, and it's not satisfying. The real nutrition for the soul is Al-Islam, the religion of God, the religion of all the prophets. Please, as you're walking out, there's a lot of videos, DVDs, audio, and also there's a form which is called $1 a day. This helps us continue on bringing quality speakers, as you can see. Please, may Allah reward you. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless each one of you, and would really appreciate if you can donate generously so we can maintain, inshallah, this good work. I would like to thank every one of you here. I'd like to thank our sponsors. May Allah reward you all.